Betata.
The program director, I greet you, program director. Also, my deputy president, president of the country, Paul Mashatile, the ministers present, the mayors, national commissioners, okay, and the distinguished guests, I greet you all this afternoon. I'm Nomkhululi Mdladlana Matiwane. I'm going to talk about my brother, Sashielana Ibele. We have gathered here today to celebrate man of his house. Membathisi Mpumzi Mdladlana was born in 1952, as it was indicated. He was the 7th child out of 11 siblings. There are only 2 left. Membathisi was born in Kiskamahuk, Ezinguka, Mzansi, in the Eastern Cape, where he was nurtured as an African boy. Family circumstances made his parents to relocate him to his maternal grandparents at Debenek. And I remember during the Group Areas Act, as they were workers, were given a residential place in Guguletu. They were moved, and then they decided to relocate uMembathisi kwakhona from the Debenek to Eguguletu, where he started schooling. He then started schooling at Ilita Lower Primary and Siviwe Higher Primary, and obtained his junior certificate at Fezeka Secondary School. That time, he completed his junior certificate within 2 years. That time in Fezeka, he started to be in Fezeka in 1968, and then completed his junior certificate in 1980 in 2 years. Remember that time, the 3 years, if you were so clever at Fezeka, you were given a time to complete your JC in 2 years. That time, there was a test that was written. So because of his caliber and because of the fact that he was clever, that March test, the test was written in March, And then from March, you were then promoted to a second year and joined the second year student, even if you started in that year. Umembathisi started then to challenge the inequalities even before he went to the Teachers College in Lovedale. When he came back as a teacher, his parents, uDlamini, was very proud, and we could see the excitement of the father having a teacher within the family. What happened is that Membathisi stayed at home, and he started to not be at home because he had other issues as a teacher. As a young, vibrant teacher, he organized boys group, and he was the scout master then in the community, and he started to become known. Like father, like son, he would do the home chores, and his environment was always kept in pristine condition. And then my brother ended up not being at home sometimes, as he started to teach at Vukukanye Primary. And the parents would ask his whereabouts. And he decided with his colleagues to stay at Vukukanye. In Vukukanye, there are residents as Paya. So with other colleagues, they stayed at Vukukanye, trying to do whatever they wanted to do. And he loved to argue. And mostly, he would win an argument. His family was his first love. And above all, he loved his children. He frequently visited his family in the Eastern Cape. Hence, they are here today. We are really appreciating you, Mazizi. You came all the way from Eastern Cape to honor one of your own. What I want to say, Bantwana baka Membathisi, you have seen your father, you cared for your father. You have seen his health deteriorating, and you were there during his last hour. I really love you for that, because my brother was never alone. You were there all the time. And then my brother, Soni, you were there, and you saw him falling down. What I want to say, Lala mzukulwana kangwekazi, Lala Dlamini, Lala Qaba, Lala Cubungulash, Lala Zenya, Lala Kukulamakwala, Lala Lunika, Umzamomhle, Uzamile, Yaye uqatso, ulfezi. And now ulindelwe luphumlo lwana phakade, lala kakuhle Qaba. Enkosi.
Thank you very much, Kumama. We will gallop our next item now. As the children come up, the choir will render just one item, whilst the children would be walking up. Please, choir, over to you. Just one item. I think we are getting there. We are getting there.
Take this opportunity to greet His Excellency, the Deputy Vice President of the Republic of South Africa, former and current cabinet ministers, former and current deputy ministers. Allow me to say all protocol observed. Standing here before you are the children of Member TC, Mpumzi, Shepherd, Mdladlana. I think for most people, they know me, Usimile, his one and only daughter whom I know when I was younger, these are stories I used to hear. He used to take me everywhere. But there are actually 6 of us. And as you can see, I am heavily guarded. I have 5 brothers and they stand behind me. I'd like to introduce them. So the firstborn is Umonde, and then the brother that comes after me is Usonele, and then the youngest is Amahle, and then the brother that comes before me is O'Brien, and then the second-born is Ujo. Siphelele ngokuqalisibona apha. I think another thing you can observe is that we all look alike. My dad's Dlamini genes were very strong. And as you can see, my brothers are very handsome. I stand here today feeling rather emotional but strong at the same time. To speak of my dad in the past tense is rather difficult. But having been raised by him, we were taught to be tough from a very young age. So I hope I will do him proud and stand here and say what I have to say. My dad was a disciplinarian, both at home and in all his work fronts. One of my dad was probably school holidays. He was a very busy man, so most of the time he was never home. But he made sure that when we were off school, whether it was June or December, he would spend quality time with his kids. I was the child who wanted to go everywhere. So even on some of his international trips, I'd be there tagging along. Few of the things that I can say that I've learned from my dad is punctuality was one of them. My dad could not stand latecomers. He used to say that if you were on time, you were late, but if you were 5 minutes early, you were on time. Another thing that he made sure that we knew is to be independent. Being the only girl, he used to be like, he used to tell me, sorry. He used to say that, oh, sorry guys. So he used to instill that we should be independent, we should always be able to stand on our own 2 feet. Yeah, can you take over, please?
So when was that from?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
The speeches.
Okay.
Take your time.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. That's fine. All right. Yeah, so those were some of the traits that my dad instilled in us.
I'm not going to be able to read the speech that you wrote for you. Sikhona silapha.
I'm sorry, guys. It's proving to be rather difficult. So the past few months have been really tough on us as a family. My dad was really ill, but through that, he made sure we were strong enough to be able to stand here today and commemorate his memory. I'm just going to skip to the end of my speech. Dad, we will miss so much about you. We will miss your hugs. We will miss Sunday mornings when you would listen to your jazz music on loud blasts. We will miss you walking around the house singing. We would miss the way you used to sneeze so loud. And also your laughter. My dad was a very funny man. The stories he would tell us, if you would sit down with him, you would literally chat with him for 2 to 3 hours and without realizing that time had gone by. I am so proud to stand here as one of his children. He has done a lot for his organization, SATU, the African National Congress, the country as a whole. We shared him with all of you. The house now is quiet. We are only left with memories, your teachings, and we will try by all means to make sure that your legacy lives on. Rest now, Dad. Lala Dlamini, Zizi, Jamakas Jadu, Fakate, Noboya, Sohlala Sikhumbula. Ngos.
Amandla. Long live the spirit of Comrade Mdladlana, long live. Siyabulela kakhulu kubo abantwana. It is never an easy moment. We do understand. Mdala mdala okhokho bethu uzungakhali mntana ungakhali mntana lo mzabalazo mdala waqalwa lo mzabalazo waqalwa lo mzabalazo waqalwa lo mzabalazo
waqalwa uzunga 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 nomzabalazo waqalwa ngoko nomzabalazo waqalwa uzunga 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 nomzabalazo dala waqalwa nomzabalazo dala waqalwa uzunga 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 nomzabalazo dala waqalwa nomzabalazo amandla 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 as we welcome the Deputy President Amapolo asitata aphe esingaka Amapolo asitata aphe esingaka esakuyithatha iAfrika ayenzeyawo sakuyithatha iAfrika ayenzeyawo Amapolo asithatha aphe esibinde singaka Amapolo asithatha aphe esibinde singaka esakuyithatha iAfrika ayenzeyawo sakuyithatha iAfrika ayenzeyawo emasiwele Limpopo emasiwele Limpopo Bos skokele singene emasingene Pitoli emasingene Pitoli Tambos skokele Tambos skokele singene kaya phila ngona phakade moya katata Mdladlana phila ngona phakade. Our Deputy President is now taking the platform. Over to you, Nkokeli Siyabonga.
Thank you very much, Program Director. The Mdladlana family and relatives and the children, ministers and deputy ministers, former ministers, deputy ministers here present, members of parliament and provincial legislatures, councillors, the commissioner of the South African Police Service, members of the SAPS, leaders of the African National Congress here present, leadership of the South African Democratic Teachers Union, the trade union movement in general, the Alliance, and the mass democratic movement. Members of the diplomatic corps, religious leaders, and community leaders, comrades and friends. I stand before you today with a heavy heart to bid farewell to this great politician, a teacher, an activist of our time, Mdladlana Shepherd Mdladlana, who will be remembered for among other things, ensuring that the education system in our country is transformed and is run effectively. His passing is another enormous loss for his family, for the country, and for the democratic movement as a whole. To those among us who have sipped from the well of his wisdom and insight, we extend our gratitude to his family for the grace of sharing him with us through both trials and triumphs. In recent times, we have had to part ways with many of our guiding stars, companions, allies, and cherished souls who have traversed the tumultuous journey to illuminate the way towards our democracy. They belonged to an illustrious generation of revolutionaries and servant leaders whose contribution to the liberation and development of South Africa remains immeasurable. These stalwarts set themselves on a course to liberate South Africa from tyranny. What brings us solace and profound delight is that, unlike many of their comrades, they have tasted freedom in their days. A tale I trust they shall weave upon reaching the other side, recounting to those who were not graced with such fortune to behold it. Those who have recently departed achieved their mission and fulfilled their personal destinies. Yet their work, our work, is not yet complete. The South Africa of true equality for all is still to be realized. Just as embers from a fading fire can be used to ignite a new flame, we must take forward the cause to which so many dedicated their lives, the complete liberation of South Africa and its people. Mdladlana Shepherd Mdladlana was one of the leading lights in our struggle for liberation. A gentle, unassuming disposition masked great reserves of inner strength. He was indeed the embodiment of resilience. His life provided a lesson in the true nature of social justice, that one must seek for others what you seek for yourself. It is little wonder that he was drawn to the labor movement from the earliest days of his career. He understood that a thriving economy depends on the well-being of its workers. He fought to ensure that South Africa's workforce received fair treatment and protection under the law. During his tenure, he fully implemented the Basic Conditions of Employment Act of 1997, one of the most significant pieces of legislation in our country. This act guaranteed fair working hours, decent wages, and safeguards against exploitation of workers. In tandem with the Labor Relations Act of 1995, these laws strengthened workers' rights and provided a clear framework for resolving labor disputes, which led to a reduction in industrial action and improved labor relations. As an activist, a unionist, and a leader, Member Mdladlana was able to transcend an unjust system. He did it not for his own personal gain, but for the benefit and improvement of others. He always reiterated the rallying cry that an injury to one is an injury to all. This call inspired him, strengthened him, and gave him courage. He was born into a world that sought to define his prospects. It was a world designed to deny every black child the opportunity to develop and thrive. Member Tizi was just 1 year old when in 1953, the apartheid regime passed one of its most damaging laws, the Bantu Education Act. The drafters of this despicable law were clear on its intent. The then Minister of Native Affairs, H.F. Verwoerd, in explaining the rationale for the law, had the following to say: the Bantu must be guided to serve his own community in all respects. There is no place for him in the European community above the level of certain forms of labor. Close quote. There is no place for him in the European community above the level of certain forms of labor. That was Verwoerd. This was the world Membatisi Mdladlana was born into. Yet he ultimately defied it. He walked by faith rather than sight, as stated in the Great Book. He hoped and believed that South Africa would one day be free, and certainly it is today. However, Bantu education would have a lasting impact on generations of black children. The man we lay to rest today was at the forefront of that struggle. He received Bantu education as a child. He experienced its injustices firsthand, growing up in the former Bantu stand of the Ciskei. Membatisi would go on to train as a teacher. In line with the philosophy of Bantu education, training for black teachers was of a lower standard than that provided to white teachers. When he completed his training and found work as a teacher, he entered a system where black teachers earned less, had fewer social benefits, and taught under worse conditions than their white counterparts. But Mdladlana would not surrender to a grim fate. He chose to fight for change. He chose to fight for the transformation of education and the transformation of our society. He was a gifted person. He began by organizing teachers in Gugulethu and Crossroads in the late 80s, a time when the various teachers' organizations were deeply divided along racial lines, as some of the speakers said earlier. He was an organizer and a leader in the Southwestern African Teachers Association, the Peninsula African Teachers Association, and the Cape African Teachers Union. He played a key role in the establishment of the South African Democratic Teachers Union in 1990 and spearheaded the negotiations that resulted in the union's official recognition. The declaration by SADTU of a national teacher strike in 1993 was a pivotal moment in our journey to democracy. As it has been written, this was the first time a teachers' organization assumed a center stage in the education struggle in pre-democracy South Africa. It demonstrated the militancy of teachers in pursuit of better conditions of service and a transformed education system with free, quality public education at its core. With Mdladlana at the helm, the union tirelessly campaigned for the rights also of female workers and for them to enjoy the same rights as their male counterparts. This is a proud legacy that continues to this day. In its tribute to its founding president, SADTU had spoken of his conviction that teacher struggles should not undermine nor derail their mandate of delivering quality education. As SADTU said, he saw teachers as revolutionary professionals with an invaluable role to play in bringing about a more just, inclusive society. He is known to have often said, and I quote, "We can teach and strike at the same time." Now we know that he would have said this because he knew that while it was important to fight for teachers' rights, whether it's fair wages, proper conditions of work, but he knew that teachers must not compromise teaching of the children. We can teach and strike at the same time. We must take heed of his words at a time when our education system still faces a number of challenges and when educators work under difficult conditions. We urge teachers, as they fight for better conditions, to always remember those words. We can teach and strike at the same time. Taking forward the revolutionary principles of the democratic movement does not mean straying from our greater mandate to serve the people of South Africa. In 1994, upon the inauguration of the first democratic parliament, his country called upon him to serve. He responded without hesitation. Mdladlana was part of the drafting committee of the Bill of Rights. the bedrock of our constitutional order today. As a lifelong champion of human rights, it was fitting to assign him that responsibility. Fellow mourners, we have lost one of the architects of the new South Africa. Membatis's life teaches us a lot. It teaches us about servant leadership. It teaches us about an enduring commitment to public service without regard for personal gain. Wherever his movement or his government deployed him, he served with diligence and integrity. He served under 4 presidents of the democratic dispensation. This reveals a great deal about his character and the faith and regard he had for his people. He hated injustice and took a stand against it wherever he saw it. He served as a minister of labor at a time when we had only just begun implementing the laws to protect all workers and their rights. A former staff member who served under him speaks about weeks spent crisscrossing the country, visiting farms, factories, and mines to meet workers. He convened the first national program for the elimination of silicosis, a deadly lung disease that affects workers, particularly in the mining and construction sectors. During the apartheid years, black workers received no protection from employers or the state. Those who got ill were simply dismissed and sent home to die. A democratic government implemented laws to promote workplace health and safety and to offer social support to employees who became ill or injured when on duty. These are just some of the policies of redress Membatisi was tasked with implementing. As a champion of social justice, he advocated for these laws tirelessly. We learn from his life about principled leadership in difficult times. He was a teacher when South Africa was undergoing profound political social change. His life is a lesson on the importance of building bridges and uniting people. Today, Program Director, we live in a free country. Yet we still have to navigate complex challenges. We still have to realize a fully transformed and equal education system. The unity of the South African people remains our highest aspiration, despite the fluctuations in our national life. As political parties in this country, we may not always agree on the best road to get there, but we share a common goal. And that goal is achieving a better South Africa, achieving a South Africa that all of us can call home. And this can be done through greater collaboration and unity. As we lay Membatisi to rest, we should be inspired by his legacy. To the family, to the children and relatives, we share your sorrow. Please take comfort in the knowledge that he will be sorely missed as a loyal cadre of our movement, as a dedicated public servant, and also as a fine individual, well-liked and much admired by many. Let us pay tribute to his spirit of embracing the same unwavering dedication and zeal that he embodied in every moment of his journey. May his spirit find tranquility, and may the echoes of his legacy illuminate the path for those yet to come. May we carry with us a new flame, a flame that lights a way to a better South Africa. We strive for a society where everyone should have equal rights, freedom, and opportunities. In the words of Psalm 23, we want to say to Mdladlana, may goodness and mercy surely follow you. May you dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Lala ngoxolo Dlamini, lala ngoxolo Zizi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Zabalas. And wayekhona nyani. Someone was talking here. I have been advised by the family that the vote of thanks is going to be made by Mr. Mdladlana. So as he comes, someone was speaking about the early days of Pet Mdladlana and about Tulwan. And I was looking around, you know, seeing some people they were reporting to outside, you know. Some people who were big terrorists at that time, so to speak. But that freedom song is very touchy. The one that says, Lomzabalazo waqalwa ngokhokho bethu. When I look around and see Oba Upalo, and many people who are now old can't even walk, and all they did for this land is to fight for freedom. We have a 90-year-old veteran amongst us. 90-year-old. Bawuchawa kophakame nje kube kanye bakubona bu fresh kanjani. 90-year-old. 90-year-old left South Africa in the early 60s, fought in Wanki, back and still alive. Some of his comrades died in battle. Over to you for a vote of thanks, Baba. We appreciate every effort, Mamuna Lady, that has been played individually by everybody. This freedom has been a collective effort, indeed. And go start.
God is good all the time. God is good. Mr. Willie, you are blessed. You are blessed. God send the secret Yakoba. Thank you. Program Director, I greet you in the name of the Lord. I want to say something about the program director on behalf of the family. Ever since we had this problem, it's not a problem as such. We had this a big ukufa. He was with us. He was with us, and even today, he is with us. I thank him for that. It has been a hard, hectic week for the family. We are tired. We are all of us, as we have seen the kids when they were here. So today, your presence. Today is our last day, and today you are making a big difference in our family. Let me greet the President, the Vice President, Paul Mashatile. Say, your presence here comforts us as a family. Your presence here shows us that our uncle has made a big contribution in the liberation of our people in South Africa. We thank you. We thank all the ministers, the former ministers, SATU, the police, everybody who's here. We thank you for your coming. Our father, our uncle was like a father to all of us. He was a community man. He loved his community. He loved his community. When he was an elder in his church, he used to visit the sick in the location. He used to make sure that those who were those who were not taking, those who were disadvantaged were looked after. He was a man He was a man. He was a man. He was a disciplinarian. I remember when he was a principal at Mdladlana Primary School. The kids in the New Crossroad wouldn't wear a school uniform after 3 o'clock in front of him, even if they were from the other school. He was a disciplinarian. So, he was a community guy. In the family, there was no occasion, be it a funeral or any ceremony that was conducted by somebody else besides him. And that's one of the things that we will remember him for. He was always there for his family. He was always there for his family. Even if he's not duty, he would come. He would come to anything that we had as a family. Even his bodyguards, we tend to know his bodyguards because of that. Because he was always there for the family. He was a family guy. He was a family guy. Tata Mwingi was an intellectual. He was a leader. He was a leader. He was a leader in the family. He was a leader in the community. And I hope and I know a lot of people has learned a lot from him. I myself, when he used to visit he was very close to my father. My father was in fact an elder brother to him. So he'd come to my house and share some big ideas with my father. Then I would listen to them. And I would listen to them. And I enjoyed that because they were sharing good ideas about everything, religion, social issues, political issues. So I would learn a lot from them. He was a good guy. We are going to miss him. We are going to miss him as a family. We are going to miss him. Abengokugqibela kubantu abadala. Abengokugqibela kubantu abadala kushiyeke ngoku thina, but I assure you, we have learned something from him, and we are going to take it forward. And we are grateful to the ANC, to the government, for our uncle, because he has made us proud as a family. He has made us proud as a family. And we are not going to forget him. He's going to stay in our hearts forever and ever. Yeah. Amen. Amen.